7th grade PLTW class. We are very excited to teach you about the different parts and functions of the brain and to lead you on your sheep brain dissection. Throughout the video, we will be labeling where these different brain parts are located along with their main function.
We will start off with the frontal lobe. It is responsible for planning, decision-making, and problem-solving. It is extremely vulnerable to injuries due to being at the front of the cranium, and it is divided into two parts, at the left and right hemisphere. Next is the parietal lobe. It is located superior to the occipital lobe. It is responsible for pain, temperature, touch, and pressure processing. Damage to this area can cause problems with reading and recognizing people and objects. The cerebellum is one of the largest things in the brain and is responsible for the thought and action. It is located inferior to the frontal lobe. The temporal lobe is located on the upper part of your brain, which manages hearing and helps process memories. If the temporal lobe happens to be damaged, this can cause language to be affected. The brain stem is right above the spinal cord. This is called being superior to the spinal cord in medical terms. The last one we have here is the occipital lobe, which controls visual information. Damage to this area can result in loss of visual hallucinations.
Next, we will be talking about the medial longitudinal fissure. This part of the cerebral cortex splits the brain into the left and right hemisphere and contains information about head movements and component for eye movements. The sulci are the grooves between gyri of the brain, and gyri are the bumps that can be seen on the surface of the brain.
The pons is at the top of the brainstem. It primarily deals with regulating your sleep, respiration, swallowing, bladder control, hearing, equilibrium, taste, eye movement, facial expressions, facial feeling, and posture. The cerebellum controls muscle coordination and balance and is located superior to the brainstem. The spinal cord is the rigid part in the back of your brain that connects your spine and your brain and all of your nerves. The brainstem regulates your heartbeat and breathing. The medulla regulates your blood pressure. The optic nerve, the egg-shaped structure formed at the point below the brain where the two optic nerves cross. The olfactory bulb controls your sense of smell and is located inferior or below in common.
The left hemisphere of the brain is responsible for words, logic, numbers, analysis, lists, linearity, and sequence. The right hemisphere is responsible for your creativity. If you damage the left side of your brain, the right side of your body will be affected. However, if you damage the right side of your brain, the left side of your body will be affected.
The lateral ventricle is located in the center of the brain and is called the lateral ventricle because it creates a horizontal line across a lateral line.
The hippocampus is located within the temporal lobe. It is thought to be the center of emotion, memory, and the autonomic nervous system.
The hypothalamus is a section of the brain responsible for hormone production, your thirst, hunger, sleep, circadian rhythm, otherwise known as your sleeping patterns, mood, sex drive, and the release of other hormones in the body. The arbor vitae is the appearance of the white matter in the ventricle section of the cerebellum. Its name comes from the Latin word tree, arbor, and the Latin word for life, vitae. It is called this because it has the appearance of a tree within the white matter, and the cerebellum controls a large part of your life. The midbrain is a small central part of the brain system, right in the middle of the brain. The pineal body is a pea-sized, conical, massive tissue behind the third ventricle of the brain. The thalamus is involved in sensory and motor and controls bodily movement and coordination.
Gray matter contains the dark nuclei of cell bodies. White matter is composed of bundles of myelinated white nerve cell processes, also known as axons. Axons control impulses within the brain. We hope you learned something useful and interesting from this flip lesson. Have a good class.